Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be shedding light on what is low-risk entrepreneurship. So what is low-risk entrepreneurship, you may ask? Without further ado, without further delay, allow me to demystify that answer to that inquiry right here, right now. Low-risk entrepreneurship involves pursuing low-risk entrepreneurial pursuits. It involves pursuing entrepreneurial pursuits that yield a low startup cost. It involves pursuing entrepreneurial pursuits that are inapt to leave you insurmountably indebted. It involves pursuing entrepreneurial pursuits that are viably affordable to pursue without succumbing to debt financing nor equity financing to afford to fund your business startup costs. So what are some examples of low-risk entrepreneurial pursuits? Well, as an entrepreneur, you can produce videos, archivable live stream broadcasts, songs, podcast episodes, audiobooks, ebooks, custom-made print-on-demand merchandise, online courses, software applications, mobile games, customizable templates, and of course photos. You want all your revenue streams to be on autopilot. You want to be able to grow behemoth brands and create income generating assets. You want to be able to leverage your behemoth brands as marketing vehicles to vector your target market to your product pages where they have autonomy to procure your product offerings from. Ideally, you want your content to build traction and transcend into becoming viral content. You also want your products to build traction and transcend into becoming viral products. The cost on your end to produce intellectual properties is typically just the cost of your time, as well as other costs that are more than likely already being incurred. If you have a broadband internet connection, a computer, a microphone, a web camera, then you can profusely produce content. Embracing entrepreneurial pursuits, low-risk entrepreneurial pursuits, can involve strategically working hard for at least 14 to 18 hours per day, 7 days per week, for at least 3 to 15 consecutive years. In an attempt to become a dominant market competitor in the niche user-generated content markets that you compete in, and a dominant market competitor in the niche product markets that you compete in. How do you produce viral content? What are the elements of viral content? Well, you want your content to be viral-worthy, engagement-worthy, share-worthy, like-worthy, algorithm recommendation-worthy, and you want it to be apt to yield high engagement rates, high watch times, high audience retention rates, and high viewership rates. You want your brand advocates to disseminate your content to your friends. I should say you want your brand advocates to disseminate your content to their friends, family members, and networks. You also want your content to have aesthetically appealing thumbnails, catchy titles, and optimal keywords as the metadata associated with your content. You want your content to populate on the front pages of the search engines and not be relegated to the bowels of the search engines. So utilize your main keywords that are the utmost search for, keywords that are applicable to your content. Do not neglect to do so. Ascertain which keywords are the most searched for keywords that are relevant to your content. When it comes to producing products, just like your content, your products should be worthwhile, meritorious. They should be able to assuage unmet needs among your target market. You want to be able to render your products discoverable, and you want to utilize your social media channels across a multitude of disparate popular social media platforms as marketing vehicles to vector your target market to your product pages where they have autonomy to procure your product offerings from at their own discretion. If you can attain substantial brand recognition, if you can foster strong brand loyalty, if you can attain robust brand equity, if you can cultivate rapid brand growth, then it could redound to your advantage. There are no shortcuts to being profoundly successful as an entrepreneur if you embrace low-risk entrepreneurship. Low-risk entrepreneurship does not involve having a sizable marketing budget. It involves being able to organically market your product offerings. It involves being able to organically grow behemoth brands. It is a long route to success. That's what being highly successful by embracing low-risk entrepreneurship can involve. It can involve you treading down a long pathway to success by working strategically hard for at least 14 to 18 hours per day for a minimum of 3 to 15 years in an earnest, valiant attempt to be profoundly successful as an entrepreneur who embraces low-risk entrepreneurial endeavors. When you embrace low-risk entrepreneurship, you want your content to be able to organically build traction. You want your products to organically build traction. And you minimize your risk when you embrace low-risk entrepreneurship because you do not have a marketing budget. Your startup costs are infinitesimal or negligible. And you're inapt to become instrumentally indebted by embracing low-risk entrepreneurship. When you embrace low-risk entrepreneurship, you do not need employees. You do not need freelancers. You produce everything yourself. You're the mastermind behind your marketing and branding. You're the mastermind behind your content production, and you're the mastermind behind your product creation. When you embrace low-risk entrepreneurship, you capitalize on leveraging global digital distribution platforms to upload your content onto so that your content can potentially be watched by billions of people from around the world simultaneously. You have the latent potential for your content to build traction and become viral content if millions or billions of people from around the world decide to take heed of watching your content. Furthermore, if you have stellar product offerings, they are highly discoverable, and if people are interested in procuring them, if your target market decides to procure them, then you can become profoundly successful in a very short period of time. You want your content and products to transcend to reaching viral status. You want them to be highly discoverable, and you want them to assuage unmet needs among your target market. You do not want to bring to fruition a copycat brand. You do not want to produce copycat content. And you want your products to be distinguishable from competitor products. You want to differentiate your brand from competitor brands. You want to differentiate your products from competitor products. So, content that is all the more apt to go viral. It's not only compelling, but it's typically comedic. It's typically indelible. It's typically mesmerizing. It's typically extraordinary. And it's typically worth sharing. Products that go viral typically are able to not only assuage an unmet need among a target market, but are also able to appeal to a target market due to being highly innovative. You want to render your products distinguishable from competitor products and your content distinguishable from competitor content. You want your content and products to resonate eminently well with your target market. You do not want your target market to be unappeased. And you do not want your content nor products to be characterized by insipid mediocrity. So, does low-risk entrepreneurship provide a pathway to success? Well, if you're willing to profusely invest your time into strategically working hard at least 14 to 18 hours per day for 7 consecutive days for at least a bare minimum of 3 to 15 years, then you have an iota of a chance of being profoundly successful as an entrepreneur, even if you embrace low-risk entrepreneurial pursuits. Contrary to what people think, people erroneously believe that you have to spend an exorbitant amount of money on business startup costs and hire all these employees or freelancers to have a modicum of a chance of being successful, and also have a hefty marketing budget. But that's not the case. You can organically build brands from the ground up. You can bring products to fruition. You can bring content to fruition at any given time. You just need to be able to tap into your creativity. You have ingenuity, and you can produce your own intellectual properties at any given time. And by being able to monetize them, it could provide you with a latent potential to be able to generate revenue in perpetuity. The only way to get out of poverty is to have your recurring revenue streams generate enough cash inflows or revenue to offset your recurring expenses. So you want to be able to reach that Venus, that milestone, that apex, that threshold, and it can be attainable if you're strategically working hard, if you are able to furnish unprecedented value to your target market, and your success will be predicated upon whether or not your target market deems your content and products to be worthy of consumption. If your content and products reach viral status, then they have been deemed to be worthy of consumption. But if not, then you may have to keep at it and keep producing content and products until your content or products reach viral status. If they do not reach viral status, then you will not be able to maximize your success. If they reach viral status, and it can yield life-altering implications. You want to be able to move your life in a forward-moving trajectory. You never want to stagnate, nor regress. And you want to take all the requisite measures to be able to manifest a prosperous, abundant, auspicious, blissful future in a reality. So, do something unique, do something novel. Viral-worthy content is typically novel content. It's typically indelible, extraordinary, share-worthy, like-worthy, algorithm recommendation-worthy, engagement-worthy, mesmerizing content. Typically has comedy integrated in it. Typically revolves around a unique video concept for its premise. People love challenge videos. People love prank videos. People love music videos. There are so many ideas that you can exhaust and manifest into reality by leveraging your creativity to produce creative intellectual properties that are monetizable and that can hopefully allow you to generate revenue in perpetuity. If your intellectual properties are monetizable, even if they underperform, they still have a latent potential to generate revenue past your lifetime. There are so many multi-billion-dollar media franchises, and they will likely continue to generate billions of dollars in the coming decades. Even if their creators were to pass away, the Pokemon franchise, the Dragon Ball franchise, the Lord of the Rings franchise, the Harry Potter franchise, the Star Wars franchise. These are all examples of multi-billion-dollar franchises. And the earnings potential is unfettered, it's uncapped, it's not restricted by an infinitesimal, non-subsistence hourly wage imposed by an employer. Rather, its earnings potential is limitless. So, how successful will you be if you embrace low-risk entrepreneurship? How successful will you be if you pursue low-risk entrepreneurial pursuits in lieu of pursuing high-risk entrepreneurial pursuits? The future is enigmatic and obscure beyond the veil of time. However, if you are willing to strategically work hard for at least 14 to 18 hours per day minimum for at least 3 to 15 years, working unremittingly strategically hard every day of the week for a bare minimum of 3 to 15 consecutive years, then you'll more than likely make inroads towards success. You'll more than likely make headway and progress towards success. Most people are unwilling to forfeit 3 to 15 years of their life and go all in to have an iota of a chance to be successful. And it's arduous to say the least, because you're competing in highly competitive, overly saturated markets that are replete with competition. Your competitors have ample, potent competitive advantages. They have enormous customer bases. They have already attained substantial brand recognition, strong brand loyalty, and of course, robust brand equity. And they're incessantly extending their product offerings, and they are continuously churning out more content. So just be wary of the difficulty of how hard it is to be successful. But if you embrace low risk entrepreneurial pursuits, and if you fail to attain your strategic objectives and reach your overarching goals, at least you are enough to be insurmountably indebted. The forfeiture of time can be unfortunate, but that's the cost of attempting to be profoundly successful as an entrepreneur. By embracing low-risk entrepreneurship, at least it does not come at the cost of enormous business startup costs being incurred, nor does it typically come at the cost of indebting yourself to fund a sizable marketing budget. Low-risk entrepreneurship involves organically marketing your products and doing so without a marketing budget. It does not involve becoming insurmountably indebted. It does not involve relinquishing equity stakes in your company to venture capitalists, nor angel investors, nor shareholders. But it involves being on the forefront of innovation and not only being a pioneer of your own future, but being the mastermind behind your marketing, branding, product creation, and content creation. So I hope that you found this video to be insightful and enthralling. Have a blissful day. Goodbye.